This is only a review.
I'll be taking a look at the DS and DS Lite. In this video, I'll be comparing the DS versus the new DS, the DS Lite. And on the left, we have the original DS, the fat DS, and on the right, we have the DS Lite, more slimmer and more better. Anyway, as you can see, the DS original is more thicker and chunkier, and the design is just pretty bad. It doesn't look really good at all, and it's pretty bulky. You wouldn't really want to put this in your pocket. And as you can see on camera, it is pretty beaten up, but it'll work for this little comparison video. And on the right, we have the DS Lite. It does look a lot better than the original DS. Like, just the design factor just looks better, and it is more sleeker and better than the original DS. But they're still both not pocket sized. Even the DS Lite is pretty chunky. You really wouldn't want to put this in your pocket. You'd still be able to notice it if you were walking around. So they are still pretty big. Even the DS Lite is still a little bit pretty big to be putting in your pocket to be taking it around. But it is lighter and slimmer than the first DS. When you open up the DS, both DSs, they look identical inside. They both have two screens and all the same buttons basically. But some of the buttons have actually changed from the DS to DS Lite. Like on the original DS, the power button is up here, and on the DS Lite, the power button's on the right side. It's like a little switch that you gotta slide instead of a physical button you press. The screen sizes are basically the same, but of course on the DS Lite you have a better screen and better brightness, and of course a better design overall. But everything else is basically the same on both systems. I'll go ahead and power them on. Right off the bat, you will notice that the DS Lite is 10 times much brighter. I don't know if you can notice it on camera, but the DS Lite is got a way better screen than the original DS. Internal features, they don't got much of internal features. They both got the same internal features, such as features like the way they play games and stuff. They both play the same games. They both have the same main interface. They both have a clock, a calendar. They both play Game Boy Advance games. This one, when you put in a Game Boy Advance game, it doesn't stick out, but on the DS Lite, since they made it a little slimmer than the original DS, they had to make the cartridges to stick out of the bottom, but that's not a big complaint anyway. It still plays your Game Boy Advance games. And on the new DS Lite, or the new version of the DS model, they did put a little thing at the bottom to protect the Game Boy Advance slot, basically. Game Boy Advance slot. They both play the same games. No difference in games, just one is more slimmer and lighter and has a better screen, as you can see. And this one has one main difference that the DS Lite has compared to the original DS. This one has a brightness settings. You can change the brightnesses of this. It goes up to about 3 or 4. Unlike the original DS, goes to nothing. It doesn't have any brightness settings, so whatever you get, you're stuck with, basically. And they all have the same features. But on the DS original, what I like about it is the buttons are a little bit more better than the DS Lite. They do feel better and more durable than the DS Lite buttons. But the stylus on the DS Lite is 10 times better than the one on the DS. On the original DS, it is kind of thin. Unlike the one on the DS Lite, is more thicker and chunkier, or like longer, so it's better to hold in your hands. I'll go ahead and show you what the stylus look like on both systems. Go ahead and take them out. As far as screen sizes go, I think both systems basically have the same screen size. You can't really notice it while you're playing. But here's what both styluses look like. Here's the one for the original DS right there, and here's the one for the DS Lite right there. As you can see, the one on the right is just more thicker and better and longer. That's what she said, but basically this one is better. They did change the design of the stylus to make it more better and more easier. As you can see, this is kind of hard to hold in your hand because it's too thin. It's not like long enough. It makes it kind of hard, like a small pencil, which is kind of bad. One good thing about the original DS is that it uses the same charger as the Game Boy Advance SP, so if you had an SP laying around and you have a charger for it, the Game Boy Advance SP charger will work with the original DS, which is nice. And the DS Lite takes its own special charger. They changed the chargers when they went to the Lite version because it was a little slimmer, and they had to change the charger to a little slimmer charger, basically. But overall, they're both good systems, but if I was going to go with one, of course, you'd go with the DS Lite. It does got a better screen, and the games look more vibrant. Of course, they both have about the same resolution screen, just the games on there look 10 times better than the games on there, a little bit better, of course. But the buttons on here do feel way better than the buttons on the DS Lite. Like, these are more sturdier buttons. If we're talking about build quality, the DS original has way better buttons, just in my opinion. They're more sturdier and they feel better to play a game on the original DS. So this is just a comparison of the original DS and DS Lite. They both have, they both play the same games. They both have about the same screen size, same resolution. Everything's the same basically, but one's just more brighter and slimmer basically. And this has just been a comparison of the original DS and DS Lite. Peace out. I'll see you guys later in my next review.